This film is entitled Ready Player One and tells the story of a future online game that is played with a VR device and connected to the real world. In the year 2045 in Columbus, Ohio, precisely in a flat called The Stacks, a young man named Wade Watts was walking towards somewhere. On the way, he saw everyone he passed carrying out activities using his VR device. Then Wade entered the place like a used cars. It turns out that inside there is a secret room belonging to Wade, and he starts using his VR equipment to enter a virtual game world called OASIS. Wade then tested the treadmill beneath him. After that, he immediately logged into the OASIS virtual game world. OASIS is a virtual game with a world of unlimited imagination. All groups play this game because in OASIS they can be whatever they want. Wade also has an avatar in his game called Parsifal. Then Parsifal looked for his Mabar friend named Each. It turns out he was on Planet Doom fighting and collecting coins there. Parsifal then asked Each to get ready because the race would take place in 20 minutes. He agreed and immediately helped his friends Dato and Sho carry out a mission to hunt for an artifact there in the form of a gregarious 120 glove which can transform itself into a giant robot for 120 seconds. OASIS is filled with various items that can be owned by highly skilled gamers, but the risk is also great because if we are killed in the game, all the items, skins, and money we collect will be taken by someone else. Because most people spend a lot of time in OASIS, they will be very depressed if they die in the game. OASIS is a game created by James Halliday and Auden Morrow. In 2025, OASIS was a huge success and made them both very rich. But Auden Morrow resigned. After that, Halliday became the sole owner of the game company. Unfortunately, in 2014, Halliday passed away. But before he died, Halliday left a will in the form of an announcement in the OASIS game which stated that whoever managed to find the Easter egg in the OASIS game would get all of Halliday's shares in the company, which was worth trillions of dollars and also has complete control over the OASIS game itself. Before he died, Halliday created his avatar, Anorak, who was tasked with hiding 3 keys somewhere in the OASIS. If someone succeeds in finding these 3 keys, then he will get the Easter egg in question. The key is hidden in a challenge he created himself. Next, 5 years passed, but no one was able to solve Halliday's riddle, until one day a portal appeared in the racing arena and everyone thought that the first key challenge would be a racing game created by Halliday. But this race is very difficult because no one can ever reach the finish line. Until now, the only ones still fighting are the ex-hunters like Parsifal and his friends. Apart from that, there is another army of Sixers, namely gamers employed by a gaming company called Innovative Online Industry or IOI, who have the ambition to control OASIS and look for Easter eggs. IOI made every effort to get the key to the Easter egg, and the IOI leader is Nolan Sorrento. Then at the OASIS, Parsifal finally meets them, getting ready to take part in a race to get the key to the first Easter egg. Then next to him appeared a female avatar riding a motorbike who was also going to take part in the race. Now the whole city has turned into a circuit and the race has finally started. This competition is very fierce because there are no rules there. The motorbike racer was very agile on the circuit, but it seems like Parsifal knows her. She is Artemis. Parsifal knew her from Artemis Love YouTube. Then Parsifal continues the race while collecting coins from players killed in the game. With great difficulty, he almost reached the finish, but the gorilla monster suddenly jumped in front of him and destroyed the road. The situation became even more dire, so Parsifal and Artemis helped each other so they wouldn't be killed in this game, but unfortunately, the monster destroyed Artemis' motorbike. Seeing that Artemis was upset because his motorbike was destroyed, Parsifal said that his friend could fix it and took her to Each's repair shop. When they got there, Artemis was amazed by the iron giant robot that was being assembled by Each. Artemis then gave him her damaged motorbike, which was then taken by Each to be repaired. Artemis realizes that Parsifal is an Easter egg hunter who doesn't follow the clan or fights alone. Then they chatted a lot about OASIS and Halliday. Seeing Parsifal, who understands all the information about the OASIS, she begins to understand Parsifal's ambition, who wants an Easter egg so he can become rich. Artemis then asked why he had given up on the previous race. He explained that he had not given up, but for the past 5 years, no one had been able to get past the gorilla monster. But Artemis thinks it's just a rumor because Halliday doesn't like making rules within the OASIS. Artemis then underestimated Parsifal's intentions, who wanted to get the Easter egg just for money reasons, which was different from Artemis, who was ready to lose everything so that the Easter egg wouldn't fall into the hands of the IOI company. Artemis then chose to go offline and pick up her motorbike, which had been repaired. Wade also went offline afterward. Wade went home to his aunt's house. However, just as he entered, he was immediately beaten by his uncle because he died in the game due to Wade's glove item. His uncle said that now he had lost all his items which he had bought with the money that was going to be used for house renovations. Then, when he was going to sleep, Wade remembered what Artemis had said earlier, that Halliday didn't like making rules for his games. Wade went back online and went straight to Halliday's office. The place is now increasingly quiet even though the memory of Halliday is stored there. Parsifal then met the curator and asked him to play the CCTV footage of Halliday in the office on a certain date. The curator invited Parsifal to the video recording. He also looked at the video carefully. The video recording contained a conversation between Halliday and Ogden Morrow. Morrow explained that Oasis is no longer just a game and everything has changed. Then Halliday answered that he wanted everything to go back to the time when Oasis was just a game. He wanted to go back in time by pressing the pedal backward quickly. Hearing this, Parsifal was surprised and seemed to have received a clue. The next day, he returned to racing. But this time it was different because he had a clue. When the race started, Parsifal ran his car backward and backed away quickly. Unexpectedly, he entered a secret underground room. He saw the other racers above him and rode unhindered and with ease. Finally, he made it to the finish line. And for the first time in 5 years, someone crossed the finish line. Halliday's avatar named Anorak then appeared and handed over the first bronze key to Parsifal. He then gave a clue to the location of the second key. Meanwhile, at the IOI office, Sorrento looks angry because someone has managed to get the first key to the Oasis. Returning to Parsifal, he now enters the item shop because he won the previous race. Apart from getting the first key, he also got 100,000 coins in his account. He then bought a Zimexis Cube item and an X1 full sensor costume which would be sent home. Then, after that, the ordered costume arrived. Elsewhere, Sorrento uses his VR and enters the world of Oasis. He meets a player named Iraq and reports that he has obtained a rare item, a magic ball that can create a magic shield and cannot be penetrated by anything. Sorrento tells him to keep it. He also gave the task to Iraq to get rid of Parsifal. Long story short, now other players can get the first key because of Parsifal. Then Wade studied the instructions for the next challenge to get the second key. The second challenge says the creator who hates his creation. Hidden key, leap not taken, trace the steps, free from the past, then the jade key will be yours. Wade also remembered something. He saw a photo of Halliday's colleague Ogden Morrow and his dead wife Karen. Wade went online again and entered the Holiday Journal building. It was very busy there after the success of Parsifal. He was also saved by Artemis by a crowd of fans. Artemis then disguises herself as Parsifal and heads to Halliday's past recording archives. Assisted by the curator, in the recording they see young Sorrento working as an apprentice making coffee for Halliday. They rewind the recording to when Halliday first started dating a woman. Artemis is surprised. It turns out that the woman Halliday once liked was the woman who was the wife of his best friend, Morrow. Parsifal had known that for a long time and also knew that Karen was only mentioned once in all the records there. The curator didn't believe it. He even dared to bet coins with Parsifal. The curator checked it and it was true. Only one recording was found that mentioned Karen. Parsifal realizes that Halliday is trying to erase all memories of Karen except for this one recording and there must be a purpose behind it. The curator then gave Parsifal a coin according to the bet because he lost. Artemis then took Parsifal to a place in the Oasis tomorrow because there was something she wanted to show him. The next day, Parsifal arrived at a place called the Distracted Club. Then, he was surprised by the arrival of Artemis. Not only them, it turned out that Iraq was also there eavesdropping on the conversation between the two of them. Artemis realizes that the Distracted Club is Halliday's own hated creation. Then she invited Parsifal to try dancing there. Parsifal can feel every touch of Artemis because of the costume he is wearing. He started to fall and asked to meet in person. Parsifal accidentally said his real name was Wade Watts. Iraq has now succeeded in getting Parsifal's real identity. Then suddenly the IOI troops came and broke into the Distractive Club. They were targeting Parsifal and Artemis, and seeing this they tried to avoid attacks by IOI troops. Because he was cornered, he then took out the Zimexis Cube item which was able to restore the previous 60 seconds. Thanks to that item, they managed to escape. Artemis also explained that she didn't want the Easter egg to fall into IOI's hands because they are very evil even in the real world. Many people became victims, including Artemis' father. He had a lot of debt to IOI, then arrested him and put him in loyalty prison to pay off his debts. They continued to pressure him until her father fell ill and then died. Artemis wants to stop IOI from controlling Oasis. Elsewhere, Iraq reports to Sorrento that now he has found Parsifal's real identity, namely Wade Watts. Sorrento then ordered his other men to hunt down Wade. The next day when he was going online, Wade got an incoming message from Sorrento. Trembling, he pressed the message and immediately made it into Sorrento's room. In the room, Wade saw Sorrento's very luxurious VR gaming and also saw Sorrento's account login password. At this meeting, Sorrento offered a lot of money if Wade was willing to work with him. But Wade firmly rejected it. Sorrento, who was angry, then warned Wade because now he knew Wade's real identity in the real world. He also planned to blow up his house. Wade was scared and immediately went offline and then ran to warn his aunt. But it was too late. His aunt's house exploded, killing everyone inside. Wade also tried to contact his Mabar friends and give them the news that he was now being targeted by IOI in the real world. Suddenly from behind he was grabbed by someone until he became unconscious. After realizing it turned out that the person holding him was Artemis' subordinate. Finally, he met Artemis in the real world, a beautiful woman named Samantha. She also invited Wade to chat on the roof of the building where he was hiding. Wade saw that Samantha's face had a large birthmark on her face, but it didn't matter to him and Wade was still attracted to Samantha. Samantha then remembered something. She realized the true meaning of the second clue. They went back online to OASIS. Apart from that, Wade also invited other friends to go to the cinema in the Halliday Journal's building. Parsifal chose a horror film and they entered the cinema, which was playing the film in 3 dimensions. Accidentally, each is separated from the rest of the group and sees a photo of Halliday and Kira hanging on the wall. Each managed to escape by entering a room, but there he saw the appearance of various scary creatures. He is chased in a maze by zombies who want to kill him. Luckily, he was saved by Parsifal and Artemis. Then each shows photos of Halliday and Kira which he saw before. Artemis realized something and then invited the others into the dance room. And sure enough, there she saw Kira floating around being pulled by the zombies. As Artemis started to jump, the others were sucked back out of the cinema. Meanwhile, Artemis tries to save Kira from the zombies who captured him. After succeeding, Anorak suddenly appears, who gives the second key to Artemis. Artemis then uses it to unlock the second clue. The next day, the IOI troops followed Parsifal's footsteps into the cinema to get the second key. Sorrento was surprised because Parsifal also managed to get the second key, which meant Wade was still alive. Elsewhere, Sorrento's men finally find out where Samantha and Wade are hiding. While they were discussing solving the second clue, suddenly IOI troops stormed the hideout. Samantha told Wade to run away while she would fend off the IOI troops. IOI finally arrested Samantha because she had a lot of debt to the company. Elsewhere, Wade is met by a woman named Helen, who turns out to be Each. Helen invited Wade to get into her van, which turned out to be Dato, whose real name was Toshiro, and Zoe, whose real name was Sho. Helen tells them that they have solved the puzzle for the third key, which is located on the planet Doom in the Oasis. And now the IOI troops are trying to get the third key. Wade then asks for help from Helen and the others to save Samantha, who is now captured by the IOI troops. Elsewhere, Samantha is put into a loyalty machine and wears a gaming helmet that cannot be removed. She was forced to plant explosives around Anorak Castle on the planet Doom. In the castle, the IOI troops are trying to solve Halliday's final puzzle, which is an ancient console game, and there are dozens of Halliday's favorite games. If they play the game wrong, they will fall into the ice hole. Then, Sorrento told Iraq to activate the previous magic ball and cast a magic shield around the Anorak Castle that no one could penetrate. After going offline, Sorrento was then surprised because, in front of him, Wade and Sorrento were pointing a gun at him. Wade then asked where Samantha was. After being cornered, he finally told Samantha where he was. Wade then walked into another room and it turned out that they were all in the Oasis and were hacking Sorrento's account, making him think he was offline even though he was still online. Then Parsifal hacks Artemis' audio network, which is now outside the shield. On planet Doom, Artemis tells about the shield. She wants to go in and deactivate the shield from the inside. Parsifal then guided Artemis to deactivate the gaming rig she was using until she succeeded. Samantha then ran away and asked where Sorrento's gaming rig was located. She also told Parsifal to gather troops to storm Anorak Castle. On the other hand, Sorrento finally realized that he was still in the Oasis. He took off his gaming glasses and made him completely offline. Sorrento walked towards the location where Samantha was being held and finally found out that Samantha had managed to escape. Sorrento, who was annoyed, ordered his men to kill Wade and the others. Meanwhile, Samantha now sneaks into Sorrento's room and uses his gaming rig. She finds out how to deactivate the shield spell by casting a spell near the magic ball. Elsewhere, Parsifal sent a message to all Oasis players asking for their help to stop IOI's actions, which want to control Oasis. Returning to Samantha, she saw Sorrento returning to his room. She crept out of there. Then, each activated his self-made iron giant and got ready for battle. After sending the message broadcast earlier, Parsifal did not expect that all the Oasis players would come to Planet Doom to help him. Elsewhere, Samantha uses one of the gaming rigs belonging to the IOI team and goes online. Artemis then sent a drone near the magic ball and then cast a spell through a microphone nearby. His efforts were successful. Finally, the shield covering the Anorak Castle was successfully deactivated. Parsifal and all the Oasis players then advanced to attack Anorak Castle. They fought against IOI troops. In the middle battle, Artemis meets Parsifal and tells Soldier IOI is trying to solve the third puzzle. Parsifal then realized that the adventure game was the first game in the world to have SRX. In the real world, Sorrento's men managed to find the hiding place of Wade and his friends. Meanwhile, because of war, at IOI headquarters the dead troops were replaced by other troops who came back online to fight. Now everyone uses their gaming rigs and fights against the IOI troops. Sorrento finally intervened. He used his armor skin in the form of the Mechagodzilla monster. He also easily overthrew the Iron Giant. Suddenly from above comes Data with the gregarious glove item that he managed to get, turns himself into a robot for 120 seconds and fights with the mega robot monster Godzilla. However, because the time was up, he returned to his original skin and died from Sorrento's attack. Now Godzilla Sorrento is targeting Parsifal, who is running towards the castle. Then from behind came the Iron Giant, who turned out to be still alive. With the help of Artemis, he threw a bomb into Mechagodzilla's cockpit. This caused Avatar Sorrento to die, and the Mechagodzilla he was riding was also destroyed. Sorrento, who was offline, then looked for Samantha, who was still in the building. Iraq returned to block Parsifal and the others. Then Sho managed to cut Iraq's hand and make him run away. Unfortunately, each could not survive and fell into the crater. In the castle, Parsifal told Artemis to go offline because he didn't want Samantha, who is now at IOI headquarters, to get hurt in the real world. He then shoots Artemis, and immediately Samantha goes offline and runs out of the headquarters. Meanwhile, Parsifal and Sho try to break into the castle. Then they saw an IOI soldier trying to finish the adventure game. He watched him from afar, but after he managed to finish it, instead of getting the key, the person fell into the ice hole. Parsifal then tried to play it, and suddenly from behind Sorrento, who was back online, came and captured Sho. Sorrento again offers Parsifal a lot of money in exchange for all of Parsifal's Easter egg keys. He again firmly refused. Sorrento then holds a bomb and will kill all the players on the doomed planet, including the bomb holder himself. Because Parsifal did not want to comply, Sorrento activated the bomb in his hand. When Sorrento was off guard, Parsifal kicked the bomb until it was thrown away. They fought fiercely, but Sorrento managed to get the bomb back in his hands and immediately activated the bomb and made all the avatars on the doomed planet die and go offline instantly. But a miracle happened. Parsifal was still alive, and he got extra life from the coin given by the previous curator. Furthermore, Parsifal's action of completing this final puzzle was broadcast live in the world of OASIS. Elsewhere, Samantha is then picked up by Wade's friends. Samantha, who saw that Wade was still online, tried to help him. But unfortunately, it turned out that their location was already known by Sorrento's men. Sorrento then decides to go after them himself. Parsifal is now really trying to solve the puzzle. After much difficulty, he finally succeeded in solving the third puzzle. Because of his success, Anorak appeared and gave him the third key. But in the real world, the car that Wade and his friends were driving was attacked by Sorrento's men, making it difficult for him to get the keys from the Anorak. Parsifal then gave a message to all OASIS players living in the Stack Flats to help him. Wade then told Helen to drive to the Stack Flats to avoid pursuit by the IOI troops. After trying his best, he managed to insert the key and make it into a room. In it, Anorak tells Parsifal to sign a letter. In the real world, Sorrento's men entered the car driven by Helen. Toshiro blocked it with the help of Samantha, Sho, and Wade, and the woman was successfully removed. Returning to the OASIS, Parsifal realizes that the letter was just a test. He refuses to sign it, and it turns out that the room has now turned into Halliday's childhood bedroom. The Anorak also changes shape into a Halliday, and there is Halliday's childhood figure playing games. Halliday also showed a button that could delete OASIS games on all servers for good. Now in the real world, Helen managed to get her car into the Stack Flats area. Sorrento, who also arrived, told them to get out of the car. However, this action was blocked by all residents of the Stacks. Sorrento then took out a gun and continued walking towards the van that Wade was riding in. Even though the atmosphere outside was tense, OASIS Halliday finally delivered the promised Easter egg into Parsifal's hands. Now he is too, officially became the owner of OASIS. Then not long after, the police came and arrested Sorrento. Before saying goodbye, Parsifal asked if the Halliday he saw was just an avatar, but Halliday answered no. This is his real figure. Parsifal became even more confused when he saw this situation. He then took off his virtual reality glasses and went offline. Then suddenly an old man opened the car that Wade and his friends were riding in. He was Halliday's co-worker Ajin Morrow. He came with the board of directors of the OASIS game to hand over a letter of handover of company shares. Wade also shared the shares he owned with his Mabar friend and will manage OASIS together. Wade finally found out that Ajin Morrow was the curator who gave him the extra life coin. Morrow had no idea that Kira was the key to Halliday's puzzle, but Parsifal denied it. It wasn't Kira who was the key but Morrow, because Halliday didn't want to lose his best friend. Then, Wade appointed Morrow as his consultant and created a policy prohibiting all IOI employees from accessing OASIS and closing the OASIS server on Tuesdays and Thursdays so that everyone could enjoy life in the real world. And the film ended.